Okay, this is Inventor 2020, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to model this part which resembles a mouse. To do that, we're going to go ahead and start a new part, and we're going to start a new sketch in the XY plane, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to use a rectangle, and we're going to say that's going to be 4 inches long by 1.5. Okay. And as we can see, the rectangle has been constrained by the dimensions. And also you see some glyphs, which is telling us that this line, horizontal line, is parallel to this other line. And the bottom is also constrained to the horizontal line. The left is parallel to the right and vice versa. And also there is a constraint here that's 90 degrees. So this rectangle is pretty much full constraint. However, when I finish constraining, the Inventor tells us that there's 2 more dimensions that need to be constrained. The idea is to have parts or sketch constraint so they don't move or they don't change in size in order to model correctly. Or best practice is to constrain as much you can. Okay, so but this is almost fully constrained. The only reason why it's not fully constrained is because it's floaty. It can be moved. It cannot change the size, but it can move. And notice that it is green. So in order to constrain this, we need to anchor it. And we're going to anchor this rectangle to the origin, to this point right here. So to do that, we can go ahead and click in the constraint of a point to the origin. Now we could click on the dot here, the origin dot, but if this dot it wouldn't be showing, then we can also click it over here and say center point, and it will constrain there. Now if you don't have the dot, the center origin point any time there, you can always bring it back by going to Tools, Applications, and then Project, Part, Origin, and a sketch created. So you can click on that. So now we continue with our sketch, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the arc, and we're going to find the middle part of this line, which kind of turns in green, and that's going to be the first point. And the next point will be anywhere in this line. Now notice that I am close, but not quite. And as soon as I move to it, then a glyph shows there that it is constrained to the line. Okay? When you have the glyph, then you're sure that it's on the line. And that's what we're going to do. I'll click on it, and then I'm going to move it to the top. And notice that this is also constrained to the top. I could be, look, if I move all the way up, it shows a glyph over here, and that glyph is telling me that it is tangent to the line. Okay, and it shows a little bit bigger glyph than next. So with that, we just created the profile of our model, which is basically this. We created a profile. So let's continue. Now we're going to extrude the profile. We're going to extrude it, and we can right click and extrude or just pick from the menu. And one thing that I like to show is, like for instance, we got to select one part, right? So I'm just going to select this other one right here. So if I select it over here, it shows us and extrude this part, and it stops right here. Where it stops is basically the dot or the single dot that touches the line. And if I extrude this other part, is basically they're missing a dot, or they're in a dot. That's why it becomes 2 parts and not 1 part to extrude. So That could be a canopy, perhaps. Okay, but that's not what we're doing, right? So we're just going to remove it. Just click over here to remove, and we're going to select this part, which is the profile for the mouse. Now, I could extrude this all the way to the right dimension, or I could extrude it to the back, but it's best to extrude it to both sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to symmetrical, and we're going to say that we're going to make it about 2.75 in width for both two ends. Okay, and we're going to click OK. So with this, we just create a 3D body, solid, that resembles this 3D figure. However, we still need to work on it, and for that, we're going to put a filler around it. So we're going to select, wait a minute, I think we still need to work on the bottom. Yes, we need to work on the bottom. So let's look at the bottom. And the bottom also has a shape, which is kind of oval. So, and our shape is not that way. Yeah, it's not that way. So we're going to work on that. So we're going to click on it and create a sketch. All right, I'm going to center a little bit, and we're going to use the arc again. Now this time we're just going to do a shallow arc, which is more or less here, and all the way here. And then we're just going to do just about there. Notice that here I did touch the line, but not in this area. I could probably touch it up and move it myself, but if it becomes too difficult to do, we can use a projection. We can click on projection, click in the background, so we can project the border line, the edge, and then we can use the tool of extend, and we can extend this little line over here to the, okay. So if we overextend, let's say we double click it and we overextend, and now it becomes like a whole circle there, and we can always trim it. And we can just go to trim, and we click it over here, and it trims to the border of the frame, the edge basically. With that, we are okay, so we can click all right, and next we can just go ahead and extrude this part. So we're going to click on extrude, and we're going to select what to extrude. We're going to click on that part, and notice that this part, because I didn't touch it, it's not tangent to the line, so it became the whole thing. Okay, as you can see, it's the whole thing. Now, I don't want to do it to the front. I want to cut rather than adding. So we're going to click over here as a cut, but we're not going to cut more than what is needed. We don't need to cut all the way up here. In fact, there's nothing in there, but we only wanted to get used to of cutting what's needed. So it should be to the top of this line right here. So for that, we're going to select it through all. And that's basically limits to the top part of it. And that's all we need to cut. With that, okay. And now we have basically our part, which is pretty much the same shape as this. So we did one side. Now we could go and do the other side manually, but it's best to do it with a mirror. We can mirror this part to the other side. And the way to do it is basically, here's the mirror function, and we tell it the feature that we want to mirror, which is this side. Okay, select the mirror, select that feature, and we're going to mirror to the other side. But we need to select a plane, so we're going to click in plane, and we could select the XY plane, which is kind of in the middle. but it's also here, right here. So either one is fine. And notice that there's some green lines over here that's indicating how is that going to be. It's mirroring this side on the other side, just like that. So with that, okay. And now we can see that we do have the shape that we needed. Just like this in the bottom. Okay, so this is the original, and we still need to work on it in our model. And what we're going to do is now we're going to apply a chamfer, or a fillet, and not a chamfer, a fillet, okay, to make it rounded edges. So to do that, we just select the edge and select a fillet. And for that, we're going to give it 0.4 perhaps. Okay, and that seems to be okay. And we're going to click in all the sides and all the vertical sides too. And notice that we can also do through the model all the verticals. Okay, and then we click all right. So this is again all chamfer, and it's got the shape just like the original. Okay, and with that, basically we are concluding the model and all the steps that's needed. We basically apply 2 sketches. We create the first sketch, which was the rectangular and the profile shape constraint, and then we apply the second sketch in the bottom, and we cut to give it the shape, the side shape, and finally we mirror what we have done on the left side to the right side. And with that, we're done. And that's it.